And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story, real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday. I'm Rich Rosso here with Matt Doyle. Taking time off from his busy movie duties.
Yes.
To be with us.
Correct. Good morning.
Dow futures down this morning, 155, S&P 18, NASDAQ 94. We are spooked by the tariffs. And justifiably so, to some degree. Woodbush came out and said that the auto tariffs are probably going to raise the prices of cars about $10,000.
Who said that?
Wedbush Securities.
Who?
Wedbush.
Wedbush. Wow.
$10,000.
Okay.
And the president is saying to the automakers, you better not raise prices. Well, who's supposed to eat that? So you're stuck in that in the market today. Now, we do have a big day because we have PCE inflation coming out at 7:30 Central, month over month. February, 0.3 expected, 0.3 previously. Core PCE, 0.3. We're going to see that'll be a big number that might take some of the edge off or make things worse, depending on what the Magic 8 Ball says today.
Oh,
so,
let me grab it. let me just see.
Will PCE be below estimate?
Will it
Magic
be?
8 Ball.
Magic 8 Ball. Come on now. It says it's still hung over. It's not.
You got to handle that ball correctly, Matt.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not proficient at ball handling,
Okay.
but it says most likely is what it says.
Most likely.
Yes.
Let's see if the Magic 8 Ball is correct. So Wedbush was saying $10,000 per car. So GM shares fell close to 7.5%. So we never did the auto tariff thing. I mean, these are some onerous tariffs that I haven't seen in a long time. Actually, Piper Sandler was coming out and saying, hey, this U.S. tariff rate, the overall U.S. tariff rate.
Who?
Piper Sandler.
Oh, okay.
Nearly 8% in tariff increases, the highest in 75 years, along with the bipartisan or anti-militant tax foundation.
Okay. Well,
So the point is,
if she's a piper, I mean, we're all just gonna.
we're going to listen to the Piper.
Yeah.
So you got to keep in mind that this is going to definitely weigh on things until we get through this process. My thought is, when you look at prices that are going to be passed through to small businesses, people who are buying auto loans at a time where, the economy is okay, you may want to think of some form of tax credits for small businesses, something a little bit more aggressive to absorb some of those increases because they can't pass them to consumers, Matt. They're not going to pay them.
No.
I mean, people are tapped out. So, I'm not. I understand the what the president's trying to do, but it's definitely going to be a lag for economic growth. So we'll get to see what that looks like. So that uncertainty creates uncertainty. S&P is down about 3% this year. Again, bond yields, 10-year yields are doing fairly nicely. If you have bonds in your portfolio, you're actually holding up pretty well, right, Matt?
I don't know, but I know that like if you go into Walgreens,
Yeah.
right, they put behind the glass, and you need a clerk to come open this
some
stuff.
Walgreens are like that. Yes.
If it's like above $50, your hair dryers and whatever else. And I saw an article this morning that said
You got to get out of the
Walmart was locking up spam.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Boy, times are tough.
I saw
people.
it on a TikTok.
That sounds pretty onerous right there.
Yeah.
If you're locking up spam.
You gotta be careful. Gotta watch your pennies.
Man, I'm telling you. Is there a spam tariff? A spariff? Is there a sparrow coming? Yeah, a sparrow. Man. I'm going to put a tax on every animal that goes into spam.
Yes. Well,
About 1,000 different types of animals.
right. Well, I mean, we could have the unicorn discussion, but we'd be here all day.
Imagine if you could take spam and turn it into an animal. What would it look like? Some sort of Stephen King kind of monster.
Oh, my goodness. It'd be delicious either way. You throw in
Listen,
some
spam
ramen
is-
noodles and...
Spam is an acquired taste. My grandmother would fry it with eggs.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, you can't do that anymore because eggs are like 17,000 times the cost of spam.
not anymore. Egg prices are down if you haven't taken a look lately. In
Okay.
some cases, dramatically. Looks like the chickens are laying
The chickens are laying.
and they're not dying. There's a country song in there somewhere. You got to figure it out, Matt.
John, what we need to do is on Tuesday, we'll have John bring his banjo in.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? There's so many different directions I can go here. My head just exploded. So I'm just going to move on. So we're going to talk about healthcare expenses in retirement today. They're a little bit more dire, and obviously we're big proponents of proactive activities to keep your health in order, whether it's diet, exercise, moving around. All the partners here are very much, well, I don't know about Danny after he eats those Twinkies in the morning. But other than that, I mean, I think for the most part, we
Twinkies
all
go well with coffee.
and spam.
Yeah.
And you try, and you, I just lost my appetite. I wonder, I think spam and Twinkies would probably last the same amount of time on a shelf.
I think so. I mean, if there was an apocalypse, I would want to go to the Spam Twinkie factory and just camp out on the roof there.
You ever see those people that have, like, I have this McDonald's burger
Yeah.
from 1982.
Right.
And it looks the same.
Yeah. Probably tastes the same, but it's going to feel different coming out the other end.
Yes, it absolutely is. I don't know where we're going this morning, but you're all along for the ride. There's a guy on video. I don't know if it's, and I'm not on TikTok, but I see him on Facebook video, but he opens up food cans like from the 30s and the 40s.
Like World War II surplus.
And he eats it.
Yeah. Oh,
And they had a canned steak.
canned steak. This isn't a thing, really? From the 1930s?
From during the war, right. So he
wow.
opens this thing up.
Okay.
And it rolls out.
The
And then
steak
he-
rolls out.
Yeah, out of the can. And
Okay.
he fries it.
Okay.
And
It wasn't cooked already in the can. It was...
Well, it didn't look cooked. It looked like it needed to be cooked. So
Okay.
he cooks it on a he's got the frying pan. And
I mean, you want to be safe when you're eating 70-year-old food. You want to be safe.
especially steak in a
Yeah.
can. And it unravels, and it really did look like a steak, right? So then he cuts into it, and it looks like a steak. But I couldn't watch him put that fork in his mouth. I had to move on to the next video.
Yeah.
There was water,
dangerous.
canned water.
Yeah.
That he-
Canned water.
Yeah, all kinds of. He finds all this stuff that he opens and eats.
Okay.
Sort of like Ed Gein, but he's opening people.
Is
So
Ed
what-
in the chat today?
No, I don't know.
I haven't
I'm
even
afraid
looked.
to look at the chat.
Ed,
today.
are you live today, Ed?
But we're going to talk about single retirees. It's something that I've been concerned about for the next generation. You're going to have a lot of seniors alone. How do they handle that? We'll continue when we get back. Stay tuned.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Social Security Fairness Act dropped elements that reduced Social Security payments retroactive to last year.
What are you going to do with all that extra income?
Our next Candid Coffee offers savvy Social Security planning if you were dinged by windfall and pension offsets.
Saturday, March 29th.
Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff answer your questions about Social Security benefits and what the removal of WEP FSA and GPO means for your retirement. Candid Coffee with Ratliff and Rosso. Register today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Attention Chevron employees and anyone else receiving or considering a company severance package. We know the process can be intimidating. What should you know to maximize your payout? Lump sum or pension annuity, retirement plan rollover or not? What about tax timing your severance? The fiduciary advisors at RIA Advisors can help you make the best decisions for your situation. Call us today at 855-742-7526. That's 855-742-PLAN. Or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
RIA Advisors Research is the envy of the industry. Our economic insights are featured on advisorperspectives.com, Fox Business, and MarketWatch. RIA provides advisors with marketing and back office support, objective research, and holistic, cutting-edge financial planning tools to meet your clients' needs. Want to join a winning team and be part of a fiduciary culture where you can do your best work? Then why haven't you contacted us yet? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors. Big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So Lance and Mike talk a lot about bonds and how bonds can be a diversifier in your portfolio, and when they're not, they are a heck of an investment to own. It's like putting an anchor around your neck and jumping in the water. They're sometimes not the best assets, not like they used to be. But now this year, when you look at it, you look at global bond yields, they've all dropped around 5 basis points because investors are reducing risk in anticipation of tariffs. These are not even the reciprocal tariffs allegedly we're going to have on April 2nd. My thought is, and I'm going to say this, go out on a limb, that if the economy really does decelerate more than we think, I have a feeling these tariffs go away. That's my thought. And the more business leaders that they sit with, the more they'll realize that they need to fine-tune these kinds of things, or at least offer relief to consumers, because organizations are not going to be able to pass on those costs. Now, the president said that there are repercussions for automakers who decide to raise prices in face of tariffs. That also sort of surprises me, because what else would you do but raise prices?
I mean, you have no choice.
Yeah, unless you're just going to take the hit to margins. So, either way, this is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Overall.
Well, but I mean, here's the thing, right? On a global scale, from an economic standpoint, if I'm good at, farming bananas, and you're good at raising goats,
you good at that.
You can't, you can't just have a barter system, right? There has to be an economic system for trade, and that has to exist.
That's right.
So, this person's smart at or good at XYZ. And so having an open and free trade type environment allows for people, areas, countries, whatever it is, to specialize in their little area.
That's right.
Now, to the extent that that's not fair, right? To the extent that there's, currency manipulation or whatever that might be, those issues have to be addressed. But having a system where, commensurate trade exists and folks are able to specialize. I mean, here we are in Houston, which is the 4th largest city, going to be the 3rd largest city
when it comes to crime, I think.
But I mean, healthcare wise, I mean, folks just travel here.
That's true.
Right?
That's very true.
Just for healthcare from all over the world. Right? And so this is a great example of, having a free and fair exchange of goods and services.
Well, if you read the book, The Fourth Turning, there's all this talk about globalism falling apart, and it has been overall. And now the proverbial walls are up all around the world. This is a trend that has started years ago and is now firmly entrenched. And now we're all going along for the ride. But I agree with you, Matt. I'm more for free trade, but I understand what's going on. It's the repercussions on Wall Street and mostly Main Street that we need to be concerned about.
Well,
Listen,
I mean, he even admits in his book, right? He's like, there was a hiccup because it's the fourth turning actually happened and didn't happen and whatever
right.
else because of World War I, World War II being so close together, and there was just a massive population decline.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, the whole time scale that guy puts out, you know,
We're going to get...
I
This is when
get
we
it.
kick Matt out
Time
of the
is kind of
studio.
a corkscrew. It makes sense.
Get on your bananas and right out of here, Matt.
Yep.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
No, but it's...
Thank you, folks. It's been a pleasure.
I think, again, this kind of turmoil is just not good for Main Street or Wall Street. And if you're I know a few small businesses that they're seeing price increases coming in from their suppliers because of the anticipation of tariffs. And they're stuck in this dilemma because they can't really pass on these costs.
Right.
So I've had some companies I know said, listen, we've got to let some of our newer people go. We don't want to, but we have to.
Right.
We're taking cuts in pay as owners, and we're going to, because we still want our good employees to stick around. So there is going to be a hit to animal spirits.
This actually dovetails very nicely into something that I was meaning
ahead.
to ask you about, if that's okay.
Sure.
And talking about, you know, reducing costs and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, I don't remember if it's 1 or 2 shows ago that I was on, and we were celebrating Mr. Clanton's birthday.
We were.
Yeah, and I believe, if I understand correctly, your birthday is on Sunday.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Has AARP begun mailing you?
Oh, they started mailing me years ago.
So which Medicare plan are you moving?
I don't know yet. Probably G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to G. Yep. That AARP, man,
They know.
they're relentless.
They know.
Now I think you can be like 40 years old and be on AARP.
They don't
They
stop.
have no age limit, right? I have
No.
some guy I talked to the other day. He's like 30-something years old. He's on AARP. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I guess they have expanded their base.
Yeah.
He's an old soul. And based on tariffs, he's gonna have shoes with old soles because he can't afford them. We'll have a soul tariff.
Okay.
That would be a great band for the House of Blues. Soul Tariff.
It'd be a wonderful garage band name for sure. I mean, I'd buy a ticket to see that.
I would too.
Yeah.
I absolutely would.
I mean, you go and expect 2 drummers.
Yes, you would. You would. So we're going to have to see how this ongoing pessimism and how this gets absorbed into the system. I'm very interested to see what kind of reciprocal tariffs we're going to anticipate as well. So, again, it's a challenging time for some people. It's also, you also have to keep perspective from a portfolio perspective. You have to also understand that you don't go ahead and take out, how you feel about things on your portfolio. That's the last thing you want to do. And when push comes to shove, I will tell you this, Matt, it's been a really incredible sector rotation into value and bonds. So I had a client yesterday say to me, gosh, with all this talk, I looked at the portfolio and we really haven't experienced any of this turmoil. I said, well, yes and no. But yes, if you have a diversified portfolio at this time, then you are handling things fairly well.
Right.
And I actually think the market is handling things better than I thought it would be in the face of, maybe tariffs we haven't seen in 75 years. So as far as the overall, when you look at the overall level of tariffs,
Yeah.
you have to go back that far to see where we're breaching throughout time. So the point is that I think the market has been resilient because it's been more sector rotation than anything else. And and I even like it a little better than last year, only because you only needed to own the Magnificent Seven. I mean, the breadth of the market was terrible. Now, at least there are some, there's some homework. There are people that are buying or ownership of companies that have dividends and have long-term businesses. It's not just all this speculation overall. So, you just have to navigate it. Every market has to be navigated. You know who really likes the tariffs, which I was shocked?
Who's that?
Jim Cramer.
Oh my goodness.
I thought I read something. I thought it was my brain team.
He still has a show?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So on CNBC, I mean, there's this article about
Does he still press the buttons and do the baseball
I
bat?
think he does all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
Very entertaining. But he's agreeing with tariffs. That would be the last person. Based on
Well, then
all
I
his
know they're
book,
wrong.
I know that does give you a pause, right? You think about it.
Jim Cramer said
He's all
No.
for tariffs.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's interesting to see, because I always pictured him as really a big free trade guy, not a tariff guy overall. So it's interesting to see people's perspectives. I find it either if you agree or not, I read them. I read them because I think it's important.
He was probably the first DUI hire.
Yeah, that might be true. Well, I don't know. There were some days at JT Moran where I worked that I think there were a lot more, but I sort of agree with you.
Yeah.
First DUI hire. So one of the things you have to remember is, and I keep hearing that Visiting Angels commercial in my head. Visiting Angels, America's favorite healthcare. You're going to have a lot.
Wait, Brent, you should mark that, and we should post up a thumbnail of that song.
Visiting Angels.
Visiting Angels.
Your advertising works.
Oh, my goodness.
Just gave birth to the RIA jingle singers.
Yes. We'll sing every jingle of commercials you don't watch. But man, I keep CNBC and Fox Business on like all day.
Okay.
And they run, all the commercials in the interim are all these.
I thought they were just selling like Progenitorovax or something like all day long.
No. Well, I don't know.
I mean, aren't the major sponsors like the drug companies and
Oh,
Merck?
yeah. Oh, yeah. They're in there.
I don't know.
They're in there.
Depends,
No,
maybe.
they are absolutely in there.
Okay.
Yeah. They always have the happy person that could die any moment.
Right.
As a side effect.
Look at me. I'm fishing and I may die tomorrow.
And then all of a sudden the boat's empty.
Yes.
Where'd Grandpa go? Grandpa! So, boy, this show is really gone today.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not touching upon
Thanks for
anything.
tuning in, guys.
I promise.
We're going to get to some material eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's one of those days.
Probably.
The tariffs are really hitting us hard in the sarcasm pocket. We'll be back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Social Security Fairness Act dropped elements that reduced Social Security payments retroactive to last year.
What are you going to do with all that extra income?
Our next Candid Coffee offers savvy Social Security planning if you were dinged by windfall and pension offsets.
Saturday, March 29th.
Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff answer your questions about Social Security benefits and what the removal of WEP and GPO means for your retirement. Candid Coffee with Ratliff and Rosso. Register today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Attention Chevron employees and anyone else receiving or considering a company severance package. We know the process can be intimidating. What should you know to maximize your payout? Lump sum or pension annuity, retirement plan rollover or not? What about tax timing your severance? The fiduciary advisors at RIA Advisors can help you make the best decisions for your situation. Call us today at 855-742-7526. That's 855-742-PLAN. Or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Are you a financial advisor sneaking peeks at our stuff? Instead of trying to do it all yourself, why not just join the team at RIA Advisors? Our full-service organization can provide you with the support, unparalleled research, and tools for managing your clients' money and honoring the fiduciary pledge of putting clients' best interest first. Don't take our word for it. Talk to the advisors that work with us. Want to come win with us? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors, big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
By the way, I'm very disappointed in you and Richard, both.
I can't
Very
wait to hear
disappointed.
why.
Because I was online yesterday and got an ad that popped up. And it's for a new book that's just come out. It's called I'm Sorry I'm Dead. That's the name of it.
The Real Investment Show podcast.
You know, so when you pass away, all the people you need to contact. And, we told our kids that when my wife and I pass away, we want them to cremate us and then take us to Italy and dump us in the ocean in Italy.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
Knowing my kids, I don't trust them. So I may have to have a third party kind of make sure we get to where we're supposed to be.
A trustee of ashes?
Exactly. We got them as far as Galveston.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
If you're working and looking to retire soon, a Medicare special enrollment period is in your future. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA Advisors' online resources and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that is right for your lifestyle and budget and avoid gaps in coverage. Click on the insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
And we're back. Well, tomorrow we have a Savvy Social Security Planning, Social Security Fairness Act, but it's so much more tomorrow in our Candid Coffee. We have a lot of questions about Social Security in general. A lot of good, really good questions. But this is about WEP and GPO, but that's just part of it. It's understanding Social Security overall spousal and survivor benefits, not only in the face of that, but also just really good general questions about what I've seen, retirement income. And we've got quite a few people that are looking to attend tomorrow. So come spend some time with us between 8 and 9 a.m. This will be live streamed on StreamYard.com. Sign up at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Yeah, the WEP is a big change.
That's huge.
It's
that's really
massive.
I mean, it only affects about 3 million people, but there are a lot. I mean, we deal with a lot of people we've had to do those calculations for.
Yeah.
Or didn't understand or couldn't believe that we had to do these calculations. They thought that they were just going to get their Social Security, spousal, or survivor benefits. And we're like, well, not so fast.
Right.
So it takes a little pressure off of us. We don't have to provide those numbers anymore. And obviously there's going to be some people getting some nice hefty checks coming in the mail. So we'll have to do that. They'll be able to buy their Spam and eggs and be all good. So obviously, seniors are a little bit distressed about Social Security. It's not going away, by the way. And just distressed about, I can't get anybody on the phone. And Medicare and so forth. But what I've always been concerned about is seniors or older Americans living alone, being alone, just because of where we are demographically, right? So we're looking at Pew, we're saying people age 65 and older who lived alone headed 11% of U.S. households in 2020. That's up from 9% in 2010. About half of women and 29% of men 65 and over are unpartnered. And that's, again, according to Pew Research. So now you look at, as younger adults, 38% of the population aged 25 to 54 are unpartnered in 2019, up from 38, up from 29%. 53% were married, down from 67% in 1990. So listen, there are a lot of seniors that like living alone. I get that. But when it comes to activities of daily living, this growing population of seniors who are most vulnerable and needing more services, especially long-term care, and we see how those costs have gone up dramatically. That always is a cause of concern for me, Matt, as younger generations really being alone.
Well, I mean, it should be.
I was thinking of creating a whole series of communities called Dead Ends. And it would be more communal living.
You would drive in and not drive out.
You would never leave.
Yeah.
It's like the villages.
Right.
But not as nice. Not as nice. But you're going to have to
I think the Eagles made a song about this.
Hotel California?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And Raid made a whole Roach Motel about it. Check in, but you don't check out.
Yeah. Well, I
have clients who move in the villages. They never leave.
Yeah.
I never get them to leave.
Yeah.
They go, why would I leave? I've got everything here.
All right.
Upside down pineapples. There's all kinds of crazy stuff
They
going.
have their own. I didn't know this until I actually went and passed through the area, but they have their own golf cart bridges over the highway so that they can drink gin and pass amongst themselves.
There's a lot of partying going on in the villages.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe this article didn't really look at the villages too closely.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. So, you have to think of practically how many people don't have enough money for retirement, but really don't even think about long-term care.
Well,
right? So go ahead, what you were saying about.
Well, I mean, all I was going to say is that, the best that I can think of and the best that I can do is to try to, draw a tangent, metaphor, I guess, or a likeness to whatever we've seen in the past, right? So my concern is you're looking at a Japan-type situation.
Uh-huh. Oh, sure.
Massive population decline, right? Older population.
I think the Japanese younger people respect their elders there. Here we just look what we do to Brent. We lock him out of the studio after. I mean, but no, it's the demographics are it's a little more dire, but very similar.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And so they're struggling now for people to come in and immigrate, right? They're like, how do we encourage this? And I don't know what the answer is. But Social Security, to your point, Social Security isn't a pension that you've created for yourself. It's the working population, providing the income for those that are taking out the benefit. And that's how it was always set up. And it was set up.
We just had more people working.
We just had more people work. And life expectancy was less.
That's right. Well,
Right.
except the first recipient
What's
of
that?
Social Security, the very first recipient,
Yeah.
I think died at age 100, which was ironic.
Is that true?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I can't remember her name. I got to look it up. But yeah, she lived that long, but that's unusual.
Right.
To your point.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
Yeah. So, I mean, you get into the position, so what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a robot come and change my nappy whenever I'm 104?
I think it comes down
I don't
to
know.
a network of different things. This is group called Village to Village Network, right? You have to create a team for support. My idea in Dead Ends was that you would have a communal kind of way of living where you would have your own places and then you would have communal kitchens, but everybody takes care of each other. If the pets need taken care of, if someone needs long-term care, there's going to have to be some
Well, you
form
can't
of...
have pets. I mean, they're going to eat the cats and all that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't-
We're eating the cats, we're eating the dogs. So, but I think for the most part, you have to look at creatively how you're going to do this. You know what I think has helped a lot of seniors more than anything else has been technology.
How so?
Well, look at Karen, for example. She's, for her age, she's really young, but she can't see at night. She's got a self-driving car, right? I have clients that use DoorDash or get their groceries delivered. They use Uber to get around.
Okay.
They communicate better with their children.
Right.
So in some ways, technology has helped a lot of these seniors stay in or age in place more effectively.
Maybe.
So I think there's a good part
those,
of it.
But those are people making the deliveries, right? And they're making nothing an hour plus their tips.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, where does that balance out? You want Uber to make the money or the guy that's actually bringing food to Granny?
Yeah. No, I understand. I'm saying, but there's got to be ways to, maybe it is the robot coming in and changing your deity. I don't know. But you look at, first of all, it's really important for people to consider, one, the long-term care decisions in their planning. And a lot of people don't want to avoid it, or they think Medicare does it. That's absolutely wrong.
Oh,
There,
right.
there is a segment of Medicare that will take care of skilled nursing for period, but it is not long-term care.
No, what is it, like 120 days or something like that?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then you have to have this particular debilitation. I mean, there's all kinds of rules, and it's not going to last very long.
Yeah, and I mean, the also the other issue is that just as Americans, I mean, we don't talk about this stuff.
No, we don't.
Your parents don't generally communicate to the children, what their wishes are or where things are or how they work or anything like that. And it's, it's embedded, even in a corporate culture, don't talk about how much you make to your coworker, right? I mean, all of that sort of stuff is just ingrained in American.
We don't talk about it.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
And we don't even want to plan for it.
We don't.
We don't want to do anything for it.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to do. I mean, as planners, we bring it up.
Yeah.
And
As John would say, we got to remind you to eat your vegetables.
We do, even if you're gumming them. We got to remind you. Healthcare powers of attorneys and proxies are very important.
Yeah.
If you go to 5wishes.org, there's a document that you can complete that is, I've been looking at 5 Wishes over the last 15 years, and you can write out your directives. Now, in some states, it's legally binding, not Texas, but you can at least set your time, your mind frame set for what you would want.
Okay.
As far as how would you like to be buried? Like Lance says he wants to be cremated.
Yeah.
And get thrown in the ocean. I have a feeling the kids are going to throw him in the ocean before he gets cremated. He said he was disappointed in Danny and I. He's always disappointed in Danny and I.
That's fine.
When is he not?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, living in people's disappointment is kind of like my operating procedure.
Is that
just
like
in
your
life.
superhero
That
ability?
That is, yeah. That is.
I'm living in other people's disappointments again. There's my bat signal.
Right.
It's just a like
big
a
D
yeah.
just flies
L
across
for
the screen.
loser.
Right. But seriously though, I mean,
Yeah.
you have folks that are, for whatever reason, right? She's like, I don't want to take care of another old man, right? Like, I don't want to get remarried.
Terrible thing for my girlfriend to say. No, go ahead.
Well, hold on. Are we quoting her? I think we should get her on the line. Do we have a
She
call
probably
in,
would
Brent?
say
Can
that.
she call in right now?
She's going to tell me to walk into the woods, like most people will tell me. There are the woods. Go for it. We'll be right back. I want to talk about healthcare costs, which was the whole gist of this whole thing that we lost track of. When we get back, healthcare costs and retirement could be more onerous than you think.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Social Security Fairness Act dropped elements that reduced Social Security payments, retroactive to last year.
What are you going to do with all that extra income?
Our next Candid Coffee offers savvy Social Security planning if you were dinged by windfall and pension offsets.
Saturday, March 29th.
Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff answer your questions about Social Security benefits and what the removal of WEP and GPO means for your retirement. Candid Coffee with Ratliff and Rosso. Register today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Attention Chevron employees and anyone else receiving or considering a company severance package. We know the process can be intimidating. What should you know to maximize your payout? Lump sum or pension annuity, retirement plan rollover or not? What about tax timing your severance? The fiduciary advisors at RIA Advisors can help you make the best decisions for your situation. Call us today at 855-742-7526. That's 855-742-PLAN. Or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
RIA Advisors Research is the envy of the industry. Our economic insights are featured on advisorperspectives.com, Fox Business, and MarketWatch. RIA provides advisors with marketing and back office support, objective research, and holistic, cutting-edge financial planning tools to meet your clients' needs. Want to join a winning team and be part of a fiduciary culture where you can do your best work? Then why haven't you contacted us yet? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors. Big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So before we get into this Employee Benefit Research Institute study, when it looks at costs of healthcare benefits in retirement, there's some talk on the chat about Gene Hackman. You know, no one has claimed the bodies yet, him and his wife. But the interesting part of his will was he left everything to his wife, not to his 3 children. $80 million. The interesting part is she died first. 14 days before him. So if he doesn't have any additional wishes in there about if she predeceases me or blah, 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 you got to think about how that's going to go through a probate process and who ultimately will get that $80 million. Because she doesn't seem like she has any family or, but again, she predeceased him.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting kind of when you think about he didn't want the money to go to his children for some reason, but they ultimately might get it.
I don't know. I mean,
if she's listed as his sole beneficiary in the will to receive everything, and she dies first,
right?
Unless there's provisions in that will, they're very well. It's probably they're looking to contest it at this point. Those kids.
Yeah.
I'm just saying is.
Look, I mean, Prince never had children.
Right.
And for whatever, any opinions you have on him as a person, I mean, he was one of the most prolific songwriters out there.
Absolutely.
Right?
But a lot of these stars, Aretha Franklin, did you ever see her estate?
Well, but what I'm saying is that he intentionally passed away without having a will. He was like, I'm going to be dead. You guys go fight over that.
That's what I think Aretha Franklin said.
It's like, I won't be here. What do I care? But if you do care and you want it to be easy on your kids, it's good to have good documents out there.
It is.
Right? And even reviewing them occasionally is important. We're working with a new client right now. Client has documents from 97. Think about how much the tax code has changed.
Well, even healthcare directives, a lot of things have changed. All of that's changed.
Right. And it's a simple question, and so I'm reviewing the documents and I'm looking at them and, hey, do you know that it says this? I forgot about that. Well, should we talk about changing that maybe? This is the way
At
the
least
laws work
updating.
now.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true.
So it's
It's
always good to review these things
It is absolutely.
because I mean, these are living documents.
Absolutely. And stars, I'm just always fascinated because it seems like people with the most money, like these celebrities, do the worst estate planning I've ever seen.
Right.
Aretha Franklin's, I just remember her estate being in disarray. Just a great case study. So when the EBRI is when we estimate what healthcare costs are going to be in retirement, they have some interesting updates. To have a 90% chance of meeting their healthcare spending in retirement, a man will need to have saved $191,000 and a woman will need to have saved $226,000. So couples enrolled in a Medigap plan with average premiums would need to have saved about $243,000 to have a 50% chance of covering their medical expenditures, and roughly around $366,000 to have a 90% chance. So, I mean, we estimate, and these are over a lifetime or lifetimes. So if you have, say you're in poor health and you have couples that would put particularly high prescription drug expenditures, they would have to save $428,000 to have a 90% chance of having enough money to cover their healthcare costs in retirement. So these numbers sort of hit you in the face from EBRI about how important it is to be proactive with your health and do as much as you can to have a healthy retirement. But it's not just from you wanting to be out there and active, it's the cost.
Right.
I've always wondered about those numbers when they say they need this much money to
It's
pay for these
accumulative
expenses
over your period of life.
What's the span though? What's the
Which
length?
would generally be probably based on the mortality tables for a husband and wife together.
Yeah.
And then what they do is they assess, like the Kaiser Foundation, if you're unhealthy, what's your out-of-pocket costs? Because we estimate what out-of-pocket costs are and are, like above and beyond a year.
Right.
What those are going to be. Listen, Medicare's a good deal. Medicare we can control those costs. We know exactly what you're going to pay depending on the program you're in.
Right.
Medicare Advantage is a little bit of a scattergun. We don't know what your ultimate out-of-pocket might be sometimes, but
I mean, a lot of that's specific to your general area, wherever you live, isn't
right.
it?
It is.
Yeah.
But also, if I have Part G, if I have the best Medigap, and I'm covered, I should be able to know what my costs are, what my inflation rate's going to be, anywhere from 6 or 7%, which we study inflation from two Fed Reserve resources.
So hold on, back to the original point.
Yeah.
I mean, with your birthday coming on Sunday, which one did you pick?
I would always go for G, man.
G. Okay.
Always G.
Okay. Why?
Soup to nuts. Covers everything.
Soup to
Do you
nuts.
ever want to go to a hospital and just walk out?
Yeah.
I've had clients that looked at Medicare Advantage and they have pre-existing conditions.
Okay.
And I'm like, please don't.
Yeah.
Because what do you want? Do you want something that is similar to the coverage you had as when you were an employee,
Right.
open architecture?
Okay.
I want to go in the hospital. I want to come out and I want very minimal bills. I want everything taken care of.
Yeah.
So I want Part A. I want Part B.
Part A,
I need Part D. I need Part G.
Part G.
That's your Medigap.
That's the
your
one
most
we're going
inclusive
with.
one. That's what we're going for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
I could go for B for bat because that's what I'm going to hit you with after the show. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm not violent. Not on during the week.
yeah.
So we have to look at. People don't get scared by these costs because it's a lump sum, but you are paying these kinds of costs every time you're the unhealthier you are. The higher your cost. But what about qualitatively? What is your life going to look like? And understand some things are congenital. You can't avoid that. But we try to even help clients. My whole theory is, and Matt, you're good at studying trends in financial services. In the next 10 years, financial advisors will have nutritionists on their staff.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
Because it's connected, right?
It is. It is. And I mean, even healthcare plans do that now. They're like, let me access your Fitbit data, and then we're going to give you a discount or not. They have like some onerous attention. Like, yeah, right. They give you an incentive from the cash. Right.
Your advisor, as
I'm
a
going to add
fiduciary,
another $50 to your HSA or whatever it is.
Right. But
Yeah.
your advisor is really just looking to make sure that you have a very solid, happy retirement and
true.
staying healthy.
Well, true.
So I think that is all connected overall. So we sort of knew, they have the Employee Benefits Research Institute have a simulation model, and they look for uncertainty due to mortality risk and rates of return on assets in retirement. And they're looking at, obviously, the Inflation Reduction Act and what's happened with Medicare Part D. And that includes caps on out-of-pocket spending on prescription drugs at $2,000 in 2025. But I had a client the other day ask me, Rich, these Part D programs, the variation in costs are amazing.
Yeah.
Well, because it's the formulary.
Right.
If you are not taking any drugs, but you still should be on a plan, because ultimately, if you don't get on the plan within your enrollment period, you're going to be paying penalties.
Right.
So get on the cheapest plan possible.
Right.
And then shop it. Mm-hmm. So I said, you got to remember, there are people that are going to go through these formularies, and they're going to they have to pay higher costs out of pocket, because we really don't know. This cap on out-of-pocket spending, or the donut hole, is going to lead to higher costs, whether it's premiums, co-pays. You're going to see, we're going to pay for that. Even though it looks like a benefit, we are going to pay for that cap. But if I don't take a lot of drugs, my overall cost for Medicare Part D is going to be lower.
Right.
It's all based on the formulary and checking it every annual enrollment period when you have a Part D plan. And a lot of seniors do not do that. Most of them will not shop their plan every year, or at least make sure it's the right plan for them.
Right. I mean, you get used to, my Comcast bill is whatever.
And you fall into that
just
status
blah,
quo.
blah, blah.
Absolutely.
And then you don't even think about it. But it's important to go back and review whatever your choices were. Have a professional look at, is this even appropriate for me anymore?
Mm-hmm. Every year, you have Medicare Advantage. We understand Medicare Advantage for some people that are cash flow constrained. They're very healthy. They don't see a doctor very often. They'll look to Medicare Advantage, and that's fine, as long as they've done their homework. But you want to shop that every year. You want to make sure you're on the right plan. That takes time and effort. You can do it yourself. We can help you. You can have a Medicare broker help you. Either way, you do want to do the homework. But the most important thing I always learn from these studies is I'm going to watch my diet. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do all the things that I need to do. Yeah, it's okay once in a while not to eat your vegetables. But it's all about balance. I think that's what it is, right? Matt, you've always been on a stricter diet regimen and all that, right? Isn't it? You can't. It's just,
I don't know. Father O'Malley at the church always said life is about balance. Everything in moderation.
Everything. It makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's these groups. You remember the FIRE group? And all these groups that say, listen, we're going to save as much. No spend groups. We're not going to spend any money for the whole week or whatever. We're not going to spend any money. I like where those things go. But if they're extreme, you're going to go off the deep end. You got to moderate it. Otherwise, you won't stick with a long-term plan.
Well,
it's like when Orange Theory tried to kill me 2 days ago.
Well, I mean, they do that, but I'm going to just run away now, and I'm going to hide from your baseball bat.
All right.
So
you hide from that bat. Tomorrow, Savvy Social Security. Sit in with us. Danny will be there. I'll be there. Lance won't be there. Lance is back on Monday. You all have a great weekend, everyone.